Welcome to this comprehensive lecture on branding. Today, we will move beyond the basic definition of brand and explore the structure architecture of branding. We will explain how brands are classified in marketplace, the specific strategies marketers employ to leverage brand names, and the critical concept of brand equity as defined by David Ecker. By understanding these mechanisms, we can appreciate how a simple name evolves into a valuable corporate assets. Before we begin the topic, let us outline the main learning objective of this session. By the end of this lecture, you will be able to classify brand into different categories such as generic, manufacturer, private and licensed brands. You will also able to differentiate between individual branding and family branding strategies. You will also able to analyze core branding strategies like line extension, brand extensions and co-branding. After that, you will able to define the brand equity and identify its constituent assets like loyalty, awareness, association and perceived quality. Then you will also able to evaluate the competitive and financial advantage of maintaining high brand equity. Branding is often described as the essence of marketing. In a competitive business environment, almost every product carries a brand to distinguish itself. However, not all brands are structured in the same way. We can categorize brands based on their ownerships, market research and naming convention. We will begin by exploring the most fundamental type of brands found in the market today. The first classification is the generic brand, often paradoxically referred as the no brand category. Under this classification, the product remain unbranded or lack a specific commercial name. These products are typically widespread consumers goods or pharmaceuticals that are inexpensive and mainly used for general purpose. Consider the example of loose fruits and vegetables sold in a local market or the bulk purchase a tomato here. It is simply sold as a tomato, not as Maggi tomato or any brand associated with it. They are plainly presented in a bean or carrot, often without any packaging. These items are typically inexpensive compared to pre-packed branded products. This absence of a brand signifies that the product is a commodity where the consumer does not differentiate based on manufacturer but rather on price and availability. Moving up the value chain, we encounter the manufacturer brand, which is also known as national brand. This occurs when a product is branded under the name of manufacturer to greater wider sales across a vast area, typically an entire nation or globally. The prime example is here is Sony Bravia televisions. Here, Sony is the manufacturer that design, engineer and markets the television. They brand the product under their own company name with a specific product line, that is Bravia. These televisions are sold nationally through a wide network of retailers, maintaining a consistent brand identity and marketing campaign across the country. Here, the key characteristics is that the producer owns the brand equity and they control the marketing masses directly to the consumer. In contrast to manufacturer brands, we have distributor brands, also known as private retail store or house brands. In this scenario, the product is branded under the name of the channel intermediary such as the wholesaler, retailer or store owner rather than the manufacturer. Let us look at Kirkland Signature by Costco. Costco is a large retailer serving as the channel intermediary. They create and sell their own line of products ranging from vitamins to clothing. The actual manufacturer of these goods are often third-party companies that are not named on the packaging. Instead, the products are branded exclusively under Costco's private label, that is Kirkland Signature. Costco controls the branding, pricing and marketing while contracting manufacturers to produce goods to their specification. While this creates exclusivity for the retailer, this process is still gaining traction in India's market compared to the West market. The fourth type is the licensed brand. This involves a contractual arrangement where brands' names are licensed or rented by established manufacturers to sellers of goods in exchange of royalties or any fees. This strategy allows a manufacturer to gain an immediate impact on the consumer's mind because the brand name used is already well established and well known. Consider Marvel superhero on apparel. Marvel Entertainment owns the right to characters like Spider-Man. An apparel manufacturer who makes t-shirt does not own these characters. Instead, they pay Marvel a royalty fee for the right to print Spider-Man's image. This gives the t-shirt manufacturer an immediate advantage. The Spider-Man brands guarantee attention and sales that a generic t-shirt would never achieve. Now, let us look at how companies name their portfolios. First, we have individual branding. Under this process, independent and unique brands names are given to all the product items offered by a single seller or manufacturer. Why would a company do this? It is a purposeful technique for risk management. Since all items in a product mix have their own individual identity, the fail of one product does not ruin the reputation of the companies or its other products. Let's take an example of P&G. Procter and Gamble is the classic example. P&G sells a wide range of products but rarely use P&G as the consumer facing name. Instead, they have Tide, Ariel for laundry, Pampers for diapers and Crest for oral care. If a controversy hits Pampers, it does not directly damage the reputation of Tide. Each brand stands alone here. The opposite approach is family blanket branding, also known as umbrella branding. Here, a single brand name is used for all the products in a product mix, covering all market segments. This is an effective technique for brands that are already well established. It significantly lowers promotional expenditures for new products because the brand is already familiar to user groups. Think of Samsung. The Samsung brand name is used across a massive ecosystem: smartphones, televisions, refrigerators, and washing machines. A consumer trust in Samsung phones often translates to the confidence in Samsung's appliances. This creates a unified ecosystem where the reputation for quality in one category boosts sales in another. Let us briefly recap this session. We have explored first generic brand, which is unbranded commodities. Second, manufactured brands owned by producers like Sony. Then private brands owned by retailers like Costco's. Third, licensed brands, rented names like Marvel. Individual branding, separate names for separate products. Then comes umbrella branding, one name for all the products. Understanding these classifications help us see the strategic ownership structure behind the products we buy. With this, we come to the end of part 1 of our discussion on branding. In today's session, we focused on understanding how brands are classified and structured in a marketplace. We begin by discussing the importance of brand classification and then examine the major types of brands like generic brand, manufacturer or national brands, private and distributors brand, licensed brands, along with real life examples to clarify each concept. Further, we explored how companies manage their brand portfolio through individual branding, where each product carries a separate identity, and a family or umbrella branding, where a single brand name supports multiple products. Finally, we summarized all these concepts to understand how different branding approach reflects ownership, risk management, and strategic positioning in the market. These classifications form the foundation of branding strategy, and understanding them help us better analyze why companies choose particular brand approach and how consumers perceive different products. In the next part of this lecture, we will move ahead to discuss the remaining aspect of branding, including advanced branding strategies and the concept of brand equity, which examines how brands create long-term value for organization. Thank you for watching this session. Please continue to the next part to deepen your understanding of branding concept.